And
McGregor.
Was the Cruz one interim title, or they just
no? Because they had to take his belt because he was hurt all the time. So it was just it was the real belt. McGregor had an interim title, right? That's whenever Aldo kept pulling out of those fights.
Yeah.
Holloway now has an interim title because Aldo won the interim title over Frankie Edgar, but then when Conor won the 155-pound division, they made Aldo the full-on champion.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then,
I was trying to figure
so
out
now his interim title is not
so you have
interim
you
anymore.
have two interim guys, basically. They're going to fight each other.
They're going to fight each other for the unified. But Aldo's the full-on champion now. And then now you got last year when Jones came back and I pulled out of the fight, he won an interim title. When I wasn't able to fight in December, they were going to do Rumble versus Musasi for an interim title. So
has anyone ever won an interim title and then won the regular title?
Yes, they have. Verdum did. He beat Kane. Right. So for me, I think I liked the one with Jones and I because of his dominance over the division for so long. It was better. But some of these interim titles I don't agree with.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we can't even explain the Holloway Aldo one was... I couldn't remember what happened. I was like, wait, they both have the... Yeah, I think... I don't know. The whole way it's gone now is
promotion.
Yeah, it's really... I think it'd be a crazy... Well, I think it'd be a crazy career to get into because you have literally no control of... It's hard to figure out what the criteria is. They could just lose interest in a whole division all at once. It's all over the place.
Conor... So what's scary is, like, for Team Nurmagomedov, is that Conor really does have this ability to almost decide what he wants to do. If Conor comes back and says, I'm going to fight Nate Diaz again for the third time, and he's going to get a title fight at 155, what do you do?
That's
I mean,
true. Yeah,
I
so
think you...
Jump. Yeah, so even in this case, the interim champion could still get jumped.
Then what do you have, though? Do you have Khabib or Tony defending an interim title while Conor and Nate fight for the undisputed title? I don't get it because as a promotion, Nick, I'm doing it. I'm going, okay, those guys want to fight. They're going to make a ton of money. You have to do it. But is it fair? No. Dennis, I mean,
have you noticed a change with the UFC in terms of ranking with the WME purchase?
I don't think we've noticed a change. I don't think there's a change. I just think that the whole game has changed since I got into it. It's like a way different world than it was when I first started back in 2009.
It's going the way of boxing, kinda, right? In that it's not as good at developing up and coming guys. It's just latching onto a few guys. I'm for anything that's good for Nate Diaz. I would hate to see Khabib or Ferguson not get the next title shot.
They're deserving.
Very. But I think Nate's just one of those guys where you just want good things to happen to him. So if he gets a big payday, and it's almost like the way the whole Conor Nate fights has been edited, where it's almost like. And he knew it probably going into the second one. They're going to make it like the first one never happened. It's like the Warriors and the Cavaliers, right? Like, it's almost like Cleveland fans forgot that the Warriors beat them to win the championship the year before. And all that mattered was this 3-1 comeback. And it's like, that's kind of like, and I think that would be a weird thing for me to see if I was in it. Like, in a way, it's great, right? What's interesting about the Diaz brothers is they just stayed the same the whole time and somehow ended up dramatically increasing their value by doing nothing different.
Nothing different.
But at the same time, it'd be just disheartening to kind of for different reasons, but like Woodley says, it'd just be disheartening to see the promotion favoring someone else, whether it's through promotion or clearly wanting them to win. And it sounds like, as a fighter, you'd say, hey, I can understand why fans would want to see X, Y, or Z happen.
Yeah.
And that may not be in my best interest. I can understand it. But it still would suck if you were the fighter that was so for me, I think you kind of want chaos, and the most chaos would be
Diaz McGregor 3.
Diaz, and then Diaz if Diaz won and just being imagine if Diaz was in charge.
It would be terrible. I love Nate, but it would be hard. What would you do?
It'd be awesome just to have Nate to be fuck you guys. Like, I've been telling you the whole time, I'll control this thing and I'll fight whoever I fight. But I do think he would probably fight. Like I would say if Nate was champion, there's a better chance of him saying, yeah, Khabib, Ferguson, whoever, just pay me this much and I'll fight. Whereas with Conor, I would think it would be more either some outlandish demand that he knew wasn't possible, or hey, I'm champion, I'm not fighting that guy, or
yeah,
but I'll fight this other guy. So I would think that Conor would freeze out either one of those potentially more than Nate.
Crazy thing is, like, you guys, Dethrone has sponsored Conor, Khabib. You sponsored Nate, because I remember we did the signing at the Warriors game.
Yeah.
So all these relationships, did you build them with all these guys, or were the guys at AKA the only ones that you really built the relationships with?
Mostly you guys. Yeah. And then, Nate, Gilbert.
Yeah.
In the beginning we had Nate, Gilbert, Jake, Nick too. Easier to, great guys that are easy to talk to, right? And then, Nick's a little harder. I mean, it's hard to. I remember going to Whole Foods with him once and asking him a question and just being like, "You don't understand shit." I was like, "Huh, all right, well, fuck. No more questions for you." Actually, we took him to a show. We did a show. Actually, it was back in the Stagger days, and we had, it might have been Nick and Jake, maybe, I don't know, but we had him at a show, and we were staying at the Hard Rock in San Diego. And at the time, I thought, well, for whatever the image was, he doesn't drink. He's not really into drinking. Like he's, stoner, but he doesn't really drink. So back then we used to just get wasted, right? And so I was on this like, oh, let's not go out for beers with him. We don't want him to think like that we're just these raging drunks and blah 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 blah. And so we just didn't really do anything. And he'd be like, eventually was like, you guys, go to the bar or anything? And we're no, we don't, like acting like, no, we don't go to the bar. So I think he went out by himself and had a great old time. And it was like, wait, he does drink and everything? Like, man, we could have had a great time, but we didn't. But yeah, no, I think, it's not the early days. Like with you and Kane and Koshek and, Thompson and Luke and everyone was, those were the best days. For me, that was the most fun.
Yeah.
And it felt like we had, Ben Henderson, we had a great relationship with, like, we sponsored Aldo. For a long time. Like in the beginning, we had like a great group of guys, and it was awesome to watch everyone, I can't think of the word, like, accomplish all these things.
Yeah.
And the best thing is the guys are the same. You're exactly the same as you were that first day we met.
Yeah.
Maybe Conor's not the same as he was before. I haven't really, there were certain guys like, and that wasn't just Conor. There's a lot of guys where you'd sponsor them. You'd say, hey, what's up? They do the bare minimum they had to do. And then when you parted ways and you went separate ways, and Conor was a little different. Conor was, when we were sponsoring him, it was great. We went to games, even went to Mexico with us. But to Conor's eyes, it's when you're done, you're done. And if you're not paying me, you're not seeing me. So that kind of thing. But it's amazing what he's done too. I remember him telling me these things he was going to do and just being like, "Come on." And then
but the thing was, he wasn't afraid to make a fool of himself.
Yeah,
he said all these outlandish things, and he could have looked like the biggest fool in mixed martial arts history. And he didn't, because he actually accomplished them. So
the most impressive thing was how he bounced back from losing to Nate.
Yeah,
like that was the moment where it was like, oh man, everyone was like, oh, you got this ego that might have this unmatched ego, right? And is he going to be able to handle
a loss?
And he didn't really come across with any like excuses. Just, he, all of a sudden Nate was 8 feet tall and weighed 300 pounds. But like, other than that, he was just like, yeah, I'm going to come back and start training and fight again. So I think the second fight, regardless of what you think of, he put a video out yesterday that was just all slow motion of him getting into a private jet and sitting in the hood of a car. And you get all the comments going like, dude, you rented a jet to go from Vegas to LA and you rented a car. Like, whether that he's taking the Mayweather playbook right on that. And I think that's the thing about him. He's really, I believe he sits there, studies like, what's the best way for me to advance my career step by step?
Yeah.
Which is smart.
He's smart.
But how he, the heart he showed in that fight, whether you think Nate won or Conor won, like the heart he showed was, you can't, it's not just like all flash. There's substance there.
There's some substance there, because he also came back with a game plan. Knew that Nate doesn't really check kicks, so he kicked a lot. Changed that up completely. He knew that he had to kind of pace himself a little bit better than he did the first time. So you saw him actually not as overzealous with his punches. wasn't throwing as hard every single shot. So, yeah, there's a lot of substance to Conor McGregor. People, you don't do what he's done without being a fantastic fighter too.